All right, so I am coming on to talk about how to know if the man that you have, the man you're in a relationship, the man you're married to, is a good, healthy, masculine man. So I have seen quite a bit of chat in my comments lately that is pretty negative towards men, pretty negative towards current partners or past partners. And I'm sure some of it is valid. And sometimes us women, we can be overly critical of the men in our lives and overly start to blame them for our relationship problems and failures and start thinking that, they're not the right man for us. This isn't the right relationship for us. He's just not doing enough. He's not good enough. He's not masculine enough. He's not emotionally evolved enough. Like there's this whole list that we can come up with in our heads. And since I talk about what, good, healthy, masculine men, pretty much that's what my content, if I'm talking about men, that's who I'm referring to, unless otherwise stated. I want to define for you how you can know if you have a good one. So, how you can identify if you have a good man is best done through looking at especially how he was in the beginning of your relationship and your marriage, when things were really good, when you were showing up at your best, and that's really key, when you were treating him your best, because there is where you're going to see who he really is. And versus some of the ways that even good men will start showing up and showing up less if we are not treating them well over time and if we're not giving them what they need over time. Because the fact is that how we are showing up with our man has a giant, usually unrecognized impact on how he will show up in our relationship and show up for us, which is really in response to us, in response to our energy, our behavior, and our communication towards him. So, how will you know if you've got a good man? So he's a good man if, number one, and this is really important, you knew he was a good man when you picked him. You knew that. And deep down, you actually still know that. You know that he loves you. You know he cares about you. You know he's a really good person, even if things aren't great right now in the relationship. He follows through on his word. He has integrity. He is consistent. And ladies, those of you who are just kind of dating someone, consistent doesn't mean texting you all day long. He is honest. He is generous. He is kind. He is caring. He's hardworking. He respects your boundaries. He wants to provide for you. And that's more than just money, but also physically and emotionally there for you. And again, this is one of those things that will start to go away if you aren't showing up well in the relationship towards him. He wants to work things through. He's willing to have the hard conversations. Again, this starts to go away when we are not communicating well with him. He makes decisions with your needs and wants in mind. And often, ladies, we don't see how our men are doing this, and we're saying they're not doing enough, and they're not showing up for us, they're not caring about this, and we are misjudging them. And by the way, I had done this with my man by letting more negative voices from other women who didn't know him like I did, who I guess didn't understand the things that I know about, why I chose him and who he really is, letting those voices get into my head, telling me, like, oh, maybe you deserve better, maybe he's the wrong man for you, blah, 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 all these things that are not true because it's a misjudgment of the man in front of you. He wants to make sure that you are safe. He tries hard to make you happy. He wants to make your life easier and better. And this is, again, one of those things that starts to go away when we don't show up well with our man. So, a good, healthy, masculine man is all of these things always. That's who he is in his core. Okay. But the fact is, ladies, we can change how he acts towards us and shows up in the relationship based on how we act towards him. So, how are you acting towards him? What kind of an environment are you creating? Are you creating an environment where he's going to feel safe and accepted and loved and respected and liked? Or are you doing the opposite? And some of us, we were not even our best in the beginning, and yet he chose us because he saw the good in us. That was my husband, by the way. I, at that time in my journey, was still very early in my healing journey. So I had done enough healing to pick a good man, but then I was super emotionally unregulated, like projecting all over the place, doing toxic behaviors and pushing him away. And he saw the best in me, so he was still there. but he could not take that bad behavior forever. And so when he stopped being willing to take it is when he started standing up to me, and I started perceiving the relationship as not working. We were fighting constantly, unhappy, thinking he's the wrong guy for me. We're wrong for each other. We can't meet each other's needs. He can't meet my needs, et cetera, et cetera. And it really took a come to Jesus moment to realize that I was the problem. I was going to take that problem into any new relationship because the problem was not him. It was not the relationship. It was me. I was the cause of my unhappiness. So your behaviors and words, they can make a man feel unsafe, unloved, disrespected, unliked, emasculated. And when you do that enough, your very good, very healthy man will shut down. He will start to withdraw. He will stop trying as much. He will stop showing up for you as much. He will stop communicating with you as much. He will stop wanting to have sex with you and be near you physically. And he can even get reactive, angry, and defensive towards you. And notice I said reactive because he is reacting, not the cause. He is defending, not attacking. So if you are not creating the kind of environment for him to be the best man he can be, don't expect that you'll get that from him. He's most likely just a normal man who isn't a saint, who isn't a master at emotional regulation, and doesn't want to be mistreated. You have a huge impact on the man in your life. Huge. We don't understand this, ladies. I mean, he has an impact on us, right? Well, we also impact him. So ladies, we do not see the ways that we hurt our men. We blame our men. We shame our men. We criticize our men. We make them feel bad and like small children. And when you wound someone enough, don't expect them to then turn around and show up and give you all the love and care and masculinity that you say you want from them. You better expect them to behave like someone who is wounding and hurting, which is what you will be seeing in your man. Hurt people, people who are hurting, being hurt, they go into fight or flight, our survival responses. So they will either shut down, they will withdraw, they will try to get away, or they will get defensive, reactive, and even angry. Good men don't want to get angry at us. They don't want to fight with us. So the most common thing is the withdrawal. Okay? They may even go into fawn, where they're just overly trying to just please us and keep the peace, playing video games all day. Yes, honey, you. And that can make you angry because you're like, well, that's not masculine. But these are cries of pains, not signs that he's a bad man, not signs that he's the wrong man. These are signs that you are showing up in a way that is not conducive to his best coming out. Because that only comes out when someone feels safe and accepted and loved and respected and supported, not attacked, not demeaned, not blamed, not criticized, not put down. Now, I'm not saying your man is perfect. Humans aren't perfect. But if you have a good man, he's not going to intentionally treat you in a disrespectful, unkind, or unloving way. He's not going to intentionally hurt you. Men have a lot more self-control over their emotions than women tend to. We are much more emotional in general. And I'm talking about healthy men. You know, we will be the first ones, let's be honest, we will be the first ones to start and instigate a negative cycle with our man. You know that, okay? We tend to pick fights. A good, healthy, masculine man doesn't instigate that cycle. It's not in him to do that. And that's why he does pull away and disconnect and withdraw, because he doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to fight with you. So we need to look at how we have created this situation. We need to look at what we're doing to cause the problems we're experiencing. Because the good news is, since we are kind of to blame here, or have a large part in the situation in the relationship that's not going well, that means we are also a large part of the solution. We are the solution. We can change that dynamic. Our men are responding to us. So there is something in us that we need to look at. There are ways that we need to grow as humans and as women to be better partners and better people. And I'm not saying you're a bad person. There's a difference between saying someone is a bad person as a human and saying our behaviors are not acceptable, that our behaviors are not okay. And that's what I'm saying. It's the behaviors that are not good. We can be doing our best. We can often be acting from our own pain. And so we want to send love to that part of us that is hurting and in pain and acting out of pain. I know I have been there. And I want you to hear that your man and your relationship is not the real source of that pain. That pain is in you, and that needs to be looked at without blaming others and projecting outside of you. So there are tools for dealing with our emotions and our feelings and the pain that are productive and helpful and don't harm our relationship and our man, but will actually allow us to be seen and heard and loved and feel secure and bring out that masculinity in him that we want. But you're lacking tools and you're lacking knowledge about how to handle that pain that gets triggered in relationship. That is your pain and not actually about him. He's just getting projected onto. You're not even seeing him. You're not seeing the amazing man that he is. Relationships heal. That is one of the purposes of relationship, but they only do that when we know how to use them as tools for healing. When we see what gets triggered in us in relationship as a mirror for what's going on inside of us, and then we use that to go inside and heal that. And our relationships aren't about just getting what we want, because they involve two people. And they're about our partner. Actually, this is the best use for a relationship. They're about seeing our partner as a mirror for us and the things that get brought up in us, and then taking that and looking at ourselves and seeing the ways that we need to grow and ways that we get to evolve and become more of the kind of person, the kind of woman that we want to be, being more of that person that we can be proud of being. And I'm not saying that you need to be perfect. Nobody is going to be perfect. I am not perfect. We are human. Your man is not perfect, but we get to work on ourselves. We get to grow and evolve and become more and more what we want to be, the best versions of ourselves. So we get to choose to develop self-awareness about what we're doing and how we're showing up. We get to use a relationship as a vehicle to grow. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to learn about men. We need to learn about what they need and how they perceive things and how they need to be communicated with and how they work, because they're different from us. We need to learn how to positively communicate with our men so then we can actually get what we need from them. And then we can actually be they can actually be agents of healing for us. So I teach communication, I call it feminine communication, that works for a woman to communicate with her man in a way that's going to bring the best out of him and get the best outcome from that communication. We need to learn emotional regulation. We need to learn how to be responsible for our own emotional experiences, how to actually be regulated as we go through life, and especially with our men who usually trigger us the most. We need to heal the wounding in ourselves that has us show up in these hurtful and harmful ways with our men, the pain that we have that has us acting the way that we do. When I talk about feminine energy, it includes all of those things. A woman who is embodied in her femininity is a joy and a blessing to those around her, to the others, right? Because she makes people feel good in her presence, and especially her man, just by being who she is. Just by being who she is, not in a performative way, but in a truly embodied way where this is who she is now. This is the next evolution that we get to go towards, okay? She's done work on herself, her reactivity, her anger, her criticalness, her neediness, her unhappiness, which is not her man's responsibility to fix, it's hers. So she can have a better experience of herself, of life, of her relationship, of her man. She's an empowered woman. And that creates in her being radiance, joy, confidence, emotional regulation, the flow of love, magnetism. This is not about being perfect. This is about being the next evolution, just moving forward, being the newest version of you that you can be, that you get to be, that you choose to be. It's an opportunity for growth. So self-responsibility is key here. Blaming others is not. That's a way to keep you stuck and lying to yourself that you have no power, and, using that then to get pity that doesn't do anything for changing your life. And all of this is the work that we do inside The Adored Woman, understanding men, learning how to communicate in productive ways and actually create closeness and intimacy, learning how to be the muse and the inspiration for your man to step up for his masculinity, learning how to have a relationship that functions and works with the man and really feels good, how to navigate conflict in a healthy way, taking self-responsibility, learning emotional regulation, becoming the kind of woman you can be proud of being a support to your man, becoming the kind of man that he can be proud of being through your femininity, your embodiment, calling that out of him. So today is the last day to sign up for The Adored Woman and get the early bird discount. And the link for that to join the program is in my bio. So if you're on the fence, I really urge you, if you're listening to this and you're resonating with this, like, dive in. Now is the time to dive in. Don't allow fear and procrastination to hold you back. You know, if what I'm speaking about is speaking to you, if the posts that I've been writing have been speaking to you, if you know that this is something that you need, there's something in here for you, this is an investment in your future, like nothing else that you could invest in, because you're investing in yourself. Our relationship with ourselves and with our men is literally the most important thing in our lives. And this is an investment that is in who you're going to become and the kind of relationship you're going to get to have for the rest of your life. One payment now that will impact the rest of your life and change its trajectory. You don't have to be a divorced statistic or, you know, a second divorce statistic. You don't have to keep repeating the same problems and same mistakes with the next man. If you're in a relationship, you don't have to find yourself tossing another man to the side because you can't figure out how to make it work and just saying, I guess he's not the one, only to find yourself repeating the same problems in the next relationship. So often we don't treat ourselves like people who matter to us, people who are worthy to us. You know, we want something and then we don't give it to ourselves. We say, no, I can't do that. I can't afford that. I can't justify the money on this for myself. And what you're saying is like, I'm not worth it. I'm not worth investing into. And that's not true. You've got to decide that you are worth this, that your happiness and what you want for your relationship is worth this, that your education in yourself, your growth is worth this. I always say that we are our best investments because we take ourselves wherever we go, all the way into the future, right? So you can either hit rock bottom, and maybe you are in rock bottom and you really should get in, or you can not hit rock bottom and actually get the education now that you need to stop any cycles that could start, have already started, to have the tools going into a new relationship that hasn't even had any problems yet, but you know you need these tools to have that relationship function really well and feel really good and stay really good. And a lot of us don't have this information. We do not know this stuff. I had to learn all of this the hard way. And I want to save you all of that pain and struggle by giving you all this stuff that you really need that we don't learn anywhere. You probably never saw this in your family. So this program is going to help you break all of these habits and patterns and behaviors and communication patterns that are holding you back with your man, with men, so you can have everything you've wanted in that relationship, both in the relationship and the relationship with yourself is going to change as well. So you can have that dream relationship where your man is showing up and it just feels really good and both of you are happy. So you can find the link to join The Adored Woman in my bio. You can get the full details there. And, you know, I really hope you join us. So that is all for today. Hopefully that is helpful. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.